Hello, hello. It's me, it's me. It's the B-I-double-G. You know, back in high school, that was my nickname. Uh, they, there's a little story behind that. They called me Big D. Now, it's not the big D you're thinking about. We didn't, back then D was just a letter and didn't have any significance. But they would call me that because of my height, right? There was there was a guy in high school, much shorter than me, but everyone called him D. His real name was David, and everyone called him D. I don't know if he was being cool or whatever. And then I show up. I believe it was in my science class, and he's there. This is the second semester of a sophomore year, right? And and everyone's name. Everyone's getting to know each other. He gives out his name. His name is David. I give up my name. My name is David. And I thought that was that. There were two Davids in the classroom, right? And then like the word D goes around, right? The word D goes around, and they started out of nowhere. People started calling me Big D because I have the same name as as the other David. He's D, and because I'm taller, I'm Big D. And I think nothing much of it. I didn't really think much of it because you don't pick your nicknames. The people pick it for you, and I was not bothered by it. I was like, okay, well, that's what it is. At least it's not like, you know, a an offensive one or whatever. It's just they shorten it. They just changed it a little, right? It started to gr- get on the nerves of the other David. Hold on, let's see what I got. So I started getting in on the nerves of the other David because I don't know, they started calling him Little D, like he was a mascot or something. he he wasn't too happy. Many years later, I want to say let's see. Many years later, we're talking about after I graduated high school. I was I found one of my juniors moved to my neighborhood, and I saw her around, and we just started talking about high school. She was still in high school. I think she was already a senior at that point. Um, and she was already a senior at that point. And then like one of my older classmates, well, was still around, and he shows up, you know, and he straights up and says, "Hey, Big D," you know. At that point, the that became more of a perverse kind of thing. And then she like looks at me and think, "What, Big D? Like what?" I'm like, and at that point, I kind of know how that phrase was being used, and I said, "It's an old high school name, you know." And then like, it's like what they it's my nickname. It's what people used to call me. You know, and then that was it. Like, it's like, oh wow, like, you know. And then she wants the more. I basically told her the story of what you, like, no, it's not what you think. You know, I didn't whip it out or anything like that. It was just kind of like a natural evolution thing from someone else's nickname, kind of like sticking onto me because we have the same name, same real name, you know. You know, what can you do? What really can you do? Oh wait, I could just. You know, I am a little intrigued though. I am a little intrigued over over how people get their nicknames. Hold on, let's see. And I still have not changed the title. I'm gonna have to go back and do all this. Okay, let's see. Okay, hold on. Level 4. I think this is it. Ooh. Oh, this is rough. Um, you know, so I connected my 64 yesterday. Oh no, it's just gonna make me go around. There's some games I never finished on the 64, and I kind of want to get to them. Um, the problem is that it, I do not. I want to get an EverDrive cartridge for that system. It's it, it's you know I surprisingly got a lot of Nintendo 64 games very fast. It I want to say I got my 64 probably around 2003, and the reason why was because oh jeez. What am I looking at? I got my Nintendo 64 very, shortly after I got a job. And the reason why was because I basically wanted to see what. Well, one, they were very cheap. Everyone was getting rid of their Nintendo 64s. I got mine for around $20. That's how it was. And I better keep an eye on that. And at that point, I found like a inbox version of Perfect Dark, very cheap, like $5. Like I think I believe there was like a wholesale thing going on, and some video store near me was just getting rid of them. Oh, let me just. And I bought Perfect Dark for like $1. Inbox, instruction manual, everything. So I had that, and I should have bought more copies. But I had that game, and I was just sitting around, right? And then like, I wanted to play because I would read the mag. I gotta tell you, the Nintendo 64, I never had anything bad to say about it. Like, yeah, I was on PlayStation and console rivalry, but I was a little older. I could care less. Like at that point, like, yeah, I'm PlayStation. I'd rather buy it on PlayStation, right? That sort of thing. I never got into those kind of arguments, but jeez. Oh wow. Alright, not too bad. Anyway, so I never had any problems with the 64, but there really wasn't much there for me to invest my time in. It was like I don't know how to say. Like a lot of the games, they just didn't appeal to me. Like Ocarina of Time and Mario 64. I was like, yeah, they look cool and all, but I'm not really much of a. I think I should be okay. There's supposed to be a monster here, I think. There we go. Oh. So, so nothing really appealed to me, but I would say Rare was the best thing that Nintendo had because they were making titles that really did pique my interest. They weren't your standard Nintendo fare, you know. You had your GoldenEye, your Jet Force Gemini, your Perfect Dark, and when I look at those games, when I saw how they were playing, I was like, I really want to try that, right? But there were only 3 games. I don't, you know, and I had a PlayStation, didn't make that much money. A lot of my money went to like saving for a Dreamcast and getting and buying PlayStation games. So I have to start using herb water. It's supposed to revive, but every time I use it, it doesn't work. So I couldn't like, you know, at the time I really couldn't bring myself to get a 64 just like that. You know, I needed more of a reason. And oh jeez. And I just had it in my mind. Now, when I got a job, you know, of course I had more disposable income, but then like I, but then like all the games from in previous generations started dropping down, and when I saw that like used 64s were selling for like 20 $30, I was like, I should get one right now. This was after I got my GameCube. I kind of went backwards. I got a GameCube, then a 64, then a Super Nintendo, and then I was given a regular Nintendo. So I went backwards in that aspect. But that was because they were all cheap, right? So I got a 64, and I already had Perfect Dark at that time. And then I bought Jet Force Gemini. And then I'm looking around, and a lot of Nintendo 64 games, they were just like very, very cheap. Like, you know, rally games. Star Fox 64 was like, I bought mine for $20. I got Doom 64 for like 30 in box. I bought Quake 64. Someone sold a brand, like a very pristine looking Quake 64 in box. And at the time, I didn't have a Saturn yet, and the PC I had didn't have any kind of graphics capability. So the first time I played any kind of Quake, oh, actually no. The first time I played the original Quake was on the 64. Man. Okay. Eventually, though, like, I would buy these games, but I would never like be able to beat them. And uh, like at the time, you know, um, I think the only game I've ever beat was Perfect Dark on the 64, and then like the rest, I kind of left floating around. I wonder. Ouch. Now, recently I was thinking maybe I should start playing some of these. Like, oh, I also got Ridge Racer 64, which was it felt very slippery. Okay, hold on. I don't like the look of this. Now, I and and then I got Sin and Punishment. Now, um, I'm planning to do a video on that game, so I'm not gonna say too much. But when I saw images of that game, it didn't feel like your typical bubbly Nintendo flair. It looked, it had style. It had like a personality that's not very associated with Nintendo. And I saw some of the screenshots. I saw some of the art, and I was described the gameplay, and I read it was like Panzer Dragoon like. Um, yeah, I felt like it was kind of like Panzer Dragoon in a way, but also a little bit of Space Harrier and stuff like that. And this was Treasure. Like they've worked with Sega on or made stuff for Sega, and has that like action game pedigree. Oh, I forgot about that. So I had really high expectations for it, right? And I remember importing that game um, a month, no, like 2 months before it was released on Virtual Console. It, I I saw it on eBay. They wanted like they wanted a decent price for it, and I just bought it. Like I kept on seeing up there, no one was buying it. I was like, I'll buy it. Like I know this game is cool. Um, and when I got it in, I couldn't fit the cartridge into my 64. I was looking, like, oh no, it doesn't work. I uh, I took off the top. I did what my brother did for Batman on the Mega Drive. I took off the top shell of my Nintendo 64. I put the cartridge that way, and then that's how I got to play the first time. I was like, damn, I have to do this every time I want to play. Oh no. Um, Eventually, I got a Game Shark. Like I was like, I'll just get a Game Shark. You know, those were a dime a dozen. Oh, give. No, I don't think this is. I don't think it's any. I don't think it's stronger. Yeah, it's actually weaker. I'll probably end up selling it though. Oh, jeez. I thought it was at least one of them. Talking about the 64 though, I was trying to play I was trying to play 64 games, and I realized that it's like trying to relearn how to use a control. It was it was pretty difficult. Um, when you play an action RPG nowadays and you have the two analog sticks, that kind of like how you get used to like maneuvering, adjusting the camera, you know, all that is jeez. All that's kind of like ingrained in your brain. So when I go back and try to play a game that only has like a single that utilizes only a single analog stick, and then like the second analog, you know, the C buttons are used for like cameras and stuff. It it's tough. Like I was having trouble navigating through the game, and I was like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, yeah, I really was struggling trying trying to play this game on this control. And I remember getting pretty far in Jet Force Gemini, but so many years of playing games like, you know, like Ninja Gaiden and Max Payne and whatnot. I'm like I'm having it was a real struggle trying to retrain my brain to use a Nintendo 64 control. You know, it uh-oh. Alright, that didn't work. Oh. Um. Oh wait, I forgot. There you go. Have to avoid the. Have to avoid the water spirit. Is it cheesy? Yes, it is, but I really don't want to deal with it. That's all there is to it. I really didn't want to deal with it. Still got a lot of magic. I'm doing surprisingly well. You know, the first time I played the 64 was at a neighbor. Like, before I got a 64, we're going back into high school. I think it was in my junior year where the neighbor kid he had both a PlayStation and a 64, right? I don't even know why I say him a kid. He was only like a year younger than me. Or he was only like a couple of years younger than me. Anyway, he let me borrow his 64 if I let him borrow like I let him borrow like a couple of PlayStation games. And I'm like, I have to tell you, I was very wary of letting people borrow anything. It's just one of my things. Like, I don't want my things to get stolen. I want my things to get scratched. All this stuff, right? So, jeez. Go. Ouch. Ah. Okay, so he wanted to borrow a couple of PlayStation games, and I told him, yeah, I don't want to lose this. Oh, well, you could borrow my 64, right? All right, and you could borrow my 64, and yeah, you could borrow my 64 and a couple of games. I think he let me borrow that and GoldenEye. And I was like, all right, cool. And that's what I was playing. And then like, I remember during that time, I think Smash Brothers came out, and Smash Brothers came out, and a friend of mine, he let me borrow it, because he was always talking it up, right? He was saying how Smash Bros is like better than Street Fighter, all this stuff, right? He really loves Smash Brothers. And I didn't believe him, right? Like, it's better than Street Fighter? No, this Street Fighter's champ. Why isn't there a Street Fighter on the 64? It has the 6 buttons. Why doesn't it? Oh no, it doesn't need Street Fighter, man. It Smash Bros is awesome. So he said he challenged like, you know what? How about you play Smash Brothers? And I said, and and it's like, I do. I don't even have a 64, man. And then it's like, oh man, you're missing out. Man. You're missing out. I remember he was saying that you're missing out. And I remember I eventually told him like, I got, you know, oh man, that wasn't enough. Oh, this is very damaging. Now, I have to tell you about this other friend. He was always getting into situations and stuff, and I remember you know, this was around the time I borrowed the 64. Yeah, this was around the time I borrowed the 64, and this friend of mine, he always get into situations, and he borrowed money from me. I think it was like 30 bucks, and he and he said, I'll pay you back in a week. A week goes by, and he doesn't pay me back. He supposed to be a crab monster coming up, I think. Oh snap. Just wipes him out. Anyway, as he uses he was using after a week he doesn't pay me back. And I asked him, dude, I'm saving up for a Dreamcast. I'm gonna need my money soon, man. This was getting kind of close to September 9th, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get you money, right?" So time passes, right, and he eventually comes. He eventually comes back with a Super Smash Brothers cartridge. Doesn't do much damage. He comes back with a Super Smash Brothers cartridge, and Ouch. Now he uses it as a collateral. Look, if if you here you could really. I want to be in a situation if you would have hit Lance. There you go. Oh man, look, all that unnecessary damage. He comes back, gives it, and says you could use this as collateral. Like, I'll promise to give it to you. I said, all right. I take it back with me, and I start, and I start playing Smash Brothers. And it was enjoyable. I'll admit that it was a pretty enjoyable experience. I didn't think it was the greatest thing, but I remember playing it and then telling my friend, the other friend that was into Smash Bros. Say, look, I played Smash Brothers. It's pretty alright, Oh, what are you talking about? Huh. That's pointing me north. What's up north? Nothing. All right. Oh, really? I'll be honest, I had fun with Smash Brothers, but I, it, I guess I couldn't get into it well enough. And then I remember having to sell it because, I think I played it for a couple of days and then I returned the 64 back to the neighbor kid. And then I was like, hey, I returned it in. I got my PlayStation games back. I checked, and my PlayStation games, they were fine. I think he felt comfortable letting me borrow the 64 just because I was right next door. Like, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. Oh man, what? Really? That didn't. I'm surprised that the guy is still alive. Now, after I give him back the 64, I needed my money back, right? And the guy that let me borrow the Smash Bros, he just ghosted me. He didn't let me borrow. He used it as collateral. He said, you could sell that if after a certain period of time. And I was like, well, I guess I have to sell it because I need my money, you know. 99.99 was coming up, and 9.99 was coming up, and I wanted my money, and you know, so I so there was this other guy who you know, I had no need for it. Looking at, maybe I should have just kept it. Well, hindsight being 2020 and all, but okay. Oh, ooh. Ah, that. Oh man, I did not see that coming. That's a lot. Whew. It was supposed to be something over here. Oh boy. Oh, that's a lot. And I leveled up. I leveled Lance up twice. Oh, come on! There you go. Oh, man. Wow, look how much HP I have now. Oh man. Frost armor. I wonder if she could put it on. Let me see. Kind of looks like a dress a little bit, no? No, she can't put it on. Alright, there you go. It's 12 more defense. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I do not have enough MP. Surprisingly, the way I see it, based off who was involved, I would say the Nintendo 64 was a very American console. It just feels that way because of the kind of like games that were coming out for it. Okay, Perfect Dark and GoldenEye and Rare itself, they were English, but if you, I took into consideration a lot of the stuff that was popular on there and how people remember it. And a lot of the games I keep on hearing, they were like racers and Turok shooting games and Quake and stuff. I'm like, yeah, these seem a little more let's see. It just seemed very different. Like it didn't feel very Japanese-ish. Like if you look at the Super Nintendo, Ninja Warriors and Final Fight and and all the Square RPGs, you could tell that felt more like it felt very Japanese, like so something like that. It never did it feel like an American. It didn't feel too American. It didn't feel too westernized. The 64, although it did have Japanese games on there, it felt different enough that it felt different enough that it kind of felt like a lot of the stuff that the guys around me that had 64s that they would talk about. It's like Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Mortal Kombat 4, GT Racing, San Francisco Rush, Cruising USA, and GoldenEye and Army Man. I'm thinking, well, Army Man, what was? But that's what they were into, and I can't really like fault them for it. What's the Mercy Staffing store? I'm gonna have to see. Great. Yeah, I should do a video on the 64. It is one of those systems that having a tough time thinking whether or not I should sell it or not. Nah, forget about it. Ooh. No, the hex whip is still too useful. Yeah, I'm just gonna sell it. Yeah, if I take it. If I really need it, I guess I can always come back. You know, I always would wonder, like, okay, let's see. Oh, jeez. I wonder if I'm gonna need that pretty soon. Here, let's save it and we'll go back out there. I want to clear all the, I guess not clear, but I want to get all the chests before I get to the next well, the next thing, like the next level. was I doing? Jesus, I got lost. Okay, wrong place. I would have kept the flail, but it's not strong enough to attack it's just not strong enough to kill enough enemies in one turn. Great. Oh. I'm going the right way. These guys you have to eliminate immediately. There's no room to risk it. That's how it is. If enough of those guys scream, it's over. things are not doing enough that whip's not doing enough damage anymore. That's a troglodyte? Ah. I'm trying to head north. There we go. I think this is the last time I will need to use the Orb of Truth. Instead of abandoning, I'll just use it. Oh, look at that. Booyah! Frost armor. Now, an outsider's perspective of the Nintendo 64. You could say that it was an interesting piece. Like the last, well, I'm not sure if it's fair to say the last cartridge-based console, but the last one that was predominantly there, I would say. It offered a very different take on on what gaming was being done. Um, of course, there were challenges because of how the cartridge medium was. Like, whoa. Oh. Jeez. That wasn't even my map. I forgot to put it in. That didn't kill him? Wow. And it's poison. Oh. Okay. Let's get out of here. Actually, I want to see what's up that hole first. Oh yeah, that's right. Spell. It's kind of weird. Oh, great. This guy again. Oh, thank God. Oh. Oh. Yeah, this is tough. Oh, more mithril ore. Okay, now I'm gonna. Oh, what can I make? Here, let me heal up. Damn, that was a tough one. I'm gonna save it. I'm debating whether or not I should get rid of the hex whip and hmm. Let me think. Well, he's gonna end up getting the light shield. Shield of axe. Well, would the mithril rod even be worth it? Huh. What did I give her? I think she's gonna need that shield. Yeah, I'm gonna get her a shield. Okay, Mouse. Take care. I wonder if I even need the holy water. I'm going to sell the holy water. Have a good time, Mouse.
Thank you. You have to leave the door open a little, or?
Is it warm outside?
Yes.
Close it. Okay, so I don't have to worry about grim walls anymore. I should save. it is taking. Okay. I wonder if I should level up, because those fights up on the 5th level were really, really tough. Um, I have that. Should I just take it? I don't think there's anything left. Okay. Here we go, guys. I could just reset the game if I mess up badly. Ah, damn. Go. I wonder what kept this is something I always wondered. I always blame the Nintendo's loss in Japan, um, or the fact that it came out too late. Like, how do I explain this? Sony had so much marketing muscle that they were able to get a pretty strong inroad with that, you know. It and I think if the Nintendo 64 came out when they did it, might have helped, but I think they were apparently they were waiting for they were basically waiting for Mario 64 to be done. And it was just them trying to figure out how to make games for this thing, you know? Ouch. It, you know, there were problems with that chip. Like they couldn't 100% figure it out. There's always something wrong. Jeez. Yeah, you want to eliminate. I know it's kind of overkill, but you really want to eliminate these things as fast as possible. Like to me, it seems strange um, that Sony was able to get a foothold at the time, because to me, it just didn't seem like we've seen Philips, we've seen Panasonic and the 3DO, and it really felt like Sony did not have the chops to pull it off. It just didn't seem like that in the beginning, but they were able to pull it off. And I for sure thought that once the 64 came out, that everyone was gonna like gravitate towards the Nintendo product, because they were the seasoned thing, and then Saturn will have its own little niche, and then people. I really didn't think that I didn't really think that the PlayStation was gonna have the impact that it did, but it did. Like Mario 64 came out, everyone made a big deal about it, but then like the games dried up, and then everyone was talking about like Resident Evil and Tekken and then like Crash Bandicoot and stuff. Like, oh wow, it looks like Sony has the chops, you know? Jeez. Oh, come on. I for sure thought when 64 comes out, it's gonna be. Um, it also made me realize how fickle, how fickle the. Oh man, how fickle gamers were, or players. We call ourselves players. Were we? Ouch. Like we didn't have, you know, we didn't have a lot. Oh no. Oh, that is so much damage. Damn, that sucks. Okay, I think I can hold. Whoops. Oh, ain't that pretty? No, I couldn't like believe it that like, oh wow, the PlayStation made this inroads. The 64 is not doing well enough, but the thing is that like during the time when I hear Final Fantasy coming out on the PlayStation, and that the card I realized that the cartridge medium really is holding back um really is holding back the the 64. Oh wait. Oh no. I'm trying to hold on to all my magic, but doesn't look like I'll be able to do that. You can also tell. You could also tell, like with how the games are presented, that then like with the muddy textures and and the fact that some of these games they don't last all that long. I was like, you know what? And lack of, a lot of them didn't even have voice acting. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I think the presentation really is influencing people's minds. Hmm. 40. Oh, hell no. Jeez. Okay. After the princess, I fight the red armored knight. Oh, this. That is rough. That didn't do anything. Again? Oh, wow. Wow, that is so unfair. can't keep doing this. I can't. Okay, well I got the cell key. I'm gonna have to just let's see. Can't do that. Oh, wait. You know what? I don't use. Or just wait a little while. Just wait a little while, princess. Okay, it's considerable. Acceptable. Seems okay. It's the cell key. Looks like I'm doing good with that. Here, let me rescue the princess. I'm gonna go in backwards. Whew, okay. Did I already equip? Yeah, I do have that already equipped. Let me sell the soul. Here, let me sell that sword first. Now I'm gonna go after all those chests behind the cell doors. I don't know. I get a kick whenever that crap comes out of the side like that. All right. Oh, this is going to be a problem. You guys want to fight? I'll fight. That's the happiest looking monster of an entire game. Forbidden box. You know, my brother was very, how do you say, confused when I got a 64. I was like, what? Why are you spending your money on old games? And truth of the matter is that I just really wanted to know what what the other people were playing. It just it was just like a walled off garden kind of thing, you know. When you're a kid and you see like what other people are playing and you're not able to play that, you just kind of wonder like what is it about those systems that make people wanna play, right? Oh, I still needed the Orb of Truth. Damn. I wasn't thinking about that. I'll just buy it right now. It's fine. Where was I going? Alright, right, that's right. You know what was strange? This is Shining in Darkness, right? This was made by Sega published this game. Sega published this game here in the States. And of course it got some recognition, right? 3 years after, or 2 years after this, they make Phantasy Star 4. They censored Phantasy Star 4 because, you know, there was a monster with breasts. This game has monsters with breasts, so it's pretty confusing. Jeez, I can't use any of this stuff. And let me get my right. That's something that always bothered me. They kept on doing it too. Like, I have two different copies of Mystic Defender, and I bought one at a mom and pop store near me. I beat it, and the you know, I beat it, and like I beat it, and then I you know, and then the chick is covered up, and I remember seeing the ending of that game when my brother beat it like many years ago, and she wasn't covered up. So I look into it. Yeah, they released there was some angry mothers, and they released revisions. Apparently, the ones that censored is much rarer than the ones that weren't. But it made me look out to see if I could find another one. And I bought another Mystic Defender, and that one wasn't. You know, I bought another Mystic Defender, and then that one wasn't censored when I played it through. I'm like, wow, this thing's been going on for like ages. Demon Staff. starting to think that going down to the cells is a waste of time. Alright. Should just take the shortcut. Did I lose this? Here we go, Cave of Truth. Alright, this is getting too much. Just want to get to point B. Don't want to do this. Doesn't matter, I'm almost there. Oh, magic ring. That's something, right? Oh, but I'm gonna need that I'm gonna get the other key too. Oh. Oh, I needed to get that rune key or whatever. Whoops. I think I need this again. Okay, this should be good enough. It's a good thing that these king items don't really go away. Cave of Wisdom. Alright, there should be one more. Yeah, I was near the beginning over here. Ah! Did I get anything out of it at least? Well, that was it. That was it. No more cells. There was one on up. Oh no, but that one I went under. That one I fell down, then it came back down under from. And there was no cell there. There's something on the third floor that I missed. This is gonna be tough. I have the cell key, but going all the way back from the... I guess I'll have to get there from the second to the third. Alright, I'm gonna save the game. Come back around. Alright, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try that. I'm stronger now, so I should be able to pull it off, I think. I already got that. You know what? I wish Arl was here so we could just all teleport one level above. Ooh, so pretty. Whoops. Man, the fact that they're only doing 1 damage now really shows how far I leveled up. But I think when I beat the game, I was around level 50. Well, Lance was around level 50. So it makes me wonder if I should just, if I should just grind for a good while. Let's see how bad I can beat this guy. Let's see. Not a very good victory, considering they only give me 1,000. Now on this one, I don't think I'm able to run as easily. But... We'll try one. I got a monster, I think, that shows up here. Light shield, there you go. Item. Give. Equip. Lance. Get rid of that steel shield. Look at that. Look at that. 18 plus defense. Yep, I knew it. Okay, wrong one. Oh, damn. Okay. Spell. Damn, look at all that money I have. When I had money problems before, it was something I always think about. Now it's not even an issue. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to need that anymore. I still need a cell key. I don't think I need a cell key anymore. I feel like I need a cell key, but maybe not. Oh. Yeah, I'm taking too long to decide. Also, these rings are helpful, I think. I still need the shining armor. I got the shining helmet, sword, and shield, but I still need the shining armor. I wonder if I could get it just from the king. Let me see. Maybe it's in one of the chests on the fifth floor. I'm just gonna have to do it, but I don't have time for that. I'm gonna... If I find any more mithril ore, I think I'll make something for Pyra. But until that happens, I'm gonna go ahead and save and call it a day. Okay. So thank you guys for watching my stream. It's a little off ball. Went to a lot of different topics, but I do have to say the Nintendo 64 was a very. It was the most. Like, it was a system that I would touch and go on because of friends and neighbors and whatnot. And during the PlayStation era, I did have experience with it. Like, but you know, it wasn't solid experience. It wasn't like it's something I could get on the daily. It was just something I would borrow sometimes, or play at a friend's house, and you know, Mario Kart and Mario 64. And I just, at the time, I could not get it. Nothing that the N64 appealed to me. It was just one of those systems that was meant for the Nintendo fan. That's what I chalked it up to. The 64 was meant for the Nintendo fan, and that's who it catered to, and that's who it pleased. It wasn't really for me. You know, I played Smash Brothers. I played Mario 64. I couldn't get the hang of it. The control was very unique that it took a long time for me to get adjusted to that. Hell, I'm still having trouble getting adjusted to what's the name of that game? Jet Force Gemini. That I'm having trouble with Jet Force Gemini. It's just one of those things, you know. But that's how it is. I'm still trying to get used to some of the games there, just because of how unique it is. And maybe I'm thinking of making an overall video, like a perspective of the 64 through the eyes of a Sega fan, something like that. But I really have to chalk it up. It might be a really big project. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching my video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And like always, have a good one. Later, guys.